We got to air it out. Let's air it out. So we got to air it out. Let's air it out. So
how you said it? Air it out. Air it out.
Air it out.
What is going on, football fans? Welcome to another edition of the Air Right Now podcast presented by Inside the Hashes. My name is Juan Pablo Guadin Camargo, and I am joined in a roundabout area filled with football experts. I got Mr. Dan Braxton to my left. I got Mr. Avery Collins right diagonally of me below, and Mr. Darius Reddick just right below me. What's going on, guys?
What's good? What's good, people?
How about them Ravens?
Oh my
Real
God.
quick shout out to my boy Ant Clemens performed at the inauguration last night. Shout out to my boy Ant with Justin Timberlake. Better days are coming here.
Oh, man. Yesterday was one heck of a historic day, you guys. Joe Biden being inaugurated as the 46th president of the United States. Already some a Georgia representative already filed articles of impeachment against him. Hasn't even been a day in offense. It looks like even though the Trump administration has left the building, the Trump mentality is still present in politics.
I mean, listen, man, it's going to be some residue left behind no matter what happens, you know. That's why, you know, Biden comes in and he signs, I believe, 17 executive orders, like the day of inauguration. Like, you mean, so there's some residue that's going to be left behind, but it is what it is. I will say this. America, you got what you want, so be happy with the result. That's all I'm going to say.
What's fun, what I think is weird is like on the last few days before he left, there was a bunch of these pardons that went out, to a bunch of major white collar criminals, to his one of his former members of the administration, who's Steve Bannon, I think it was. But the weirdest ones to me were Lil Wayne and I forget the name of the other guy. He's got like
Kodak Black.
Free Kodak.
I don't understand. I don't know if he did that for political points or not, but seriously,
honestly, it was for GP because there's no political thing that he can't.
I'm telling you, that's what
he got impeached twice, but he's like, yo, let me see if because he knows the value of the black dollar. So get Lil Wayne, get Kodak out. So whenever he starts whatever new business adventure he goes, he's always gonna be able to lean back on and say, yeah, I got Lil Wayne and Kodak out, so support me. But that's all it was. PR move.
I just want to ask. Sorry, Darius, go ahead.
I was gonna say I agree with Avery, man. It's a PR move. I mean, this is a guy who, remember, after the impeachment, this guy was trying to push for $2,000 stimulus checks. He was on his way out. So I was like, I'm just gonna go out swinging and try to get some cool points with everybody. Pardon a couple of people, but I mean, shout out to Trump for doing that. I guess one good thing that he did so far.
There's one dude who's salty he didn't get a pardon, which is the star of that Netflix. Joe Exotic, and he's mad that he didn't get a pardon. I mean, honestly, does he deserve one? Honestly, he tried to have a woman killed.
He had a limo and everything waiting outside for him. Like,
I don't know where did he get the money for it? Is what I'm trying to wonder.
Netflix. They had to pay him for using them. He had to get some money from that. So
I wonder if he gets that deposit back.
Yeah. Probably not.
Well, anyway, with all that being said, I do want to say congrats to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for making history as the 46th president of the United States, and Kamala for being just a trendsetter in political office, one that we never would have anticipated in our lifetime at the very least. Oh, Darren, you got some?
First off, Kamala did well. I love it. But let's not forget, Michelle Obama shut down Twitter when she came out. She shut it down.
Outfit on. Listen, everybody was talking about her. She did her thing, man.
She outshined the first lady, the new first lady,
and the VP.
She outshined her. That's how you
shout out to the OG though. You already know where I'm going. Come on, somebody catch it. You said the OG? Come on, somebody catch it. Should I?
J-Lo?
Bernie had the envelope.
Bernie came out.
You know that
Right.
everyone's been trying to buy the gloves that he has, but they're not available because they were handmade by a friend of his in 2016 out of
Wow.
old sweaters. Like, yo, and Bernie's a boss, man. Bernie's a boss.
Nah, he is, man.
man. OG.
He is.
Oh, guys, I would like we when we always start this podcast, we always go off topic a little bit, and it seems like we can always go off topic about anything and turn this into any kind of podcast. Shout out Michelle Obama, that's right there. And we can be a political podcast, a music podcast. Hell, we can even be a shoe podcast if y'all want to talk Jordans or Converse or stuff like that. But
Hey, listen.
we are.
Can we talk about the Dior's?
Oh, the
Hey,
Dior?
hey, well, we'll save that for the shoe podcast when we get there. But right now, this is a football podcast, and what we're gonna do is jump right into the rundown, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing on the rundown, it's some optimistic news coming out of Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, who suffered a concussion against the Cleveland Browns in the AFC divisional round on Sunday, is trending towards playing in the AFC Championship against the Buffalo Bills, according to NFL.com. According to a report, while he was limited in practice on Thursday, Coach Andy Reid said he was taking a majority of starting snaps on the day. Mahomes left the third quarter of the Chiefs divisional round win over the Browns and did not return, and he still has to complete concussion protocol before he's fully eligible to play in the AFC Championship. Going down to Pittsburgh, a former first-round QB has found a home in the Steel City. Dwayne Haskins of the Washington football team has signed a future reserves contract, a one-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is joining a crowded quarterback room already that features an aging Ben Roethlisberger, Mason Rudolph, and Josh Duck Hodges. I can never remember Hodges' first name. I only know him as Duck Hodges, which is funny enough. Dwayne Haskins, he was cut by Washington before the season ended. He only had 13 starts in 2 years with the football team. And then finally, we're ending the rundown on a bit of a sad note. Up in Green Bay, former Green Bay Packers general manager Ted Thompson died Wednesday night at the age of 68. In 26 years as an NFL employee, Thompson spent 21 of them in the Packers front office, bringing 2 world championships to Titletown, earning a ring as the director of pro personnel in 1996 with Brett Favre, and as a general manager in 2010 with Aaron Rodgers. Now, as a GM, Thompson brought in a lot of all-pro and Pro Bowl talent. He brought Aaron Rodgers, A.J. Hawk, Mason Crosby, Jordy Nelson, Clay Matthews, David Bakhtiari, Devontae Adams, and Kenny Clark, among the plethora of others. The NFL, for lack of better words, has lost a tremendous giant in the football industry. And guys, that concludes today's rundown. And just to break down a little bit of what we had today, Avery, Mahomes not being able to play. Look, I understand that the Browns Chiefs game could have been so much worse if Mahomes had stayed in the game. But how truly integral is Mahomes to the Chiefs making the Super Bowl, even though Chad Henne had a pretty decent performance when Mahomes left?
Let's be honest here. Nobody's believing in the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes, right? I think they're going to be serviceable because Andy Reid is still a genius. He's an offensive guru. He's a genius. Bieniemy is still there, and so I think they're going to work well, and they're going to do the thing offensively, for the most part. But there's something you can't make up for the stuff that Patrick Mahomes does when the play breaks down. You can't make up for that chemistry that he has with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. You can't make up for the fact that they're in his head and he's in theirs. So those things are going to play a part, and those things are vital at this point of the year. So I think it's a situation where if he doesn't play, they're not going to win because the Bills, they're rolling right now, right? They're rolling right now. Everybody's on full tilt, and I don't see them overcoming the Bills without Patrick Mahomes. And let's just be honest, he's going to play. I mean, the fact of the matter is the NFL, they're not going to play that. They're not going to. I have a weird feeling. Let's say he's not cleared by tomorrow or something like that. I almost have a feeling that somebody's going to catch COVID and they're going to postpone the game. And listen, man, I'm just saying. I have no clue. But my thing is this: you cannot have the AFC Championship game
Avery dropping the crazy things right now
with the reigning Super Bowl champs and Patrick Mahomes. Without Patrick Mahomes, you can't have that game played. That's just people are going to be like, that's going to be a stain on the Bills going to the Super Bowl and everything like that. So I think it's this. I mean, and then I question what's the NFL's protocol for concussions, because it's like it seems like he got diagnosed with a concussion. The next day they're like, "Oh, he's doing well and he's passing concussion protocol and he's advanced." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess he wasn't that hurt. Like, what happened?" So, whatever. I think I ultimately think he plays. And there we go.
I guess not anything is possible after all. Speaking of things happening right now, Dwayne Haskins to the Steelers, a weird bit of a pickup. No one really expected to happen. I was actually joking about it with a Steelers friend of mine earlier today, and he said, if that happens, I'm going to jump off a building. Well, someone might want to go check Pittsburgh if a guy named Joe Trentley landed on the ground yet. But Darren, what do you think of the signing for Dwayne Haskins? Is it a good fit, a culture fit? Could Dwayne Haskins reform himself in the Steel City?
I like him with Tomlin. It's really that simple for me. I like him with Mike Tomlin because Mike Tomlin is a guy that can get him together and get him to understand this is a business. You need to be professional. All the games are done. You want to be in this business, that's what's going to have to happen. Now, for the competition in the quarterback room, that's where it gets a little tricky for me. I like the coach, but the players around him, I'm not too sure of.
What up, Chris?
Now, when it comes to Big Ben, I feel like he's not going to be that mentor guy. Yes, he said he's coming out trying to be more of a leader type for his last few years, but I still feel as though he's not going to be that guy. Take him under his wing. And then you got the competition with him. Dobbs, Hodges, Rule. Honestly, for me, those three guys are not going to beat out Haskins. I don't see it. But, yeah, I don't see it. I don't believe in none of those three like that. I'm sorry. I don't like the Hodges like that. I know Mason Rudolph is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. I'm sorry. He's forever going to be a backup. But he needs somebody with more support for him in that room. A true mentor type that will keep him under his wing and make him understand what he has. Because that type of guy and with his type of talent, he can do well.
Oh man, with that, and what's really sucks about that is that Ben Roethlisberger, is he that leader that can mentor a guy like Dwayne Haskins into being the next locker room guy? And personally, Ben Roethlisberger doesn't seem like he wants to be a mentor to anybody. It just seems like he's only doing his own thing in that locker room.
His mindset might change. I mean, after what we saw him and Pouncey doing on the bench at the end of that game, he might change a little bit.
And the Steelers are revered for having a great culture in Pittsburgh. They have a winning culture for the past Lord knows how many years it's been since they've had a really, really bad losing season. Like 8-8 is not a losing season. It's a win. It's not a win, but it's not a loss either. And no one knows how to establish a culture better than a GM. And Ted Thompson, when he was over in Green Bay, established a pretty good winning culture under Brett Favre. Well, overseeing Brett Favre and the transition to Aaron Rodgers. Darius, do you think how Ted Thompson's not really exactly a household name, but how do you feel like his impact on the NFL really was?
I think it was huge. When you draft a guy like Aaron Rodgers, obviously we know what Aaron Rodgers has done this past season, what he's done out of his career. And you draft all pros, like you said, like Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, and the list goes on and on. I think it was huge. But when you think of GMs, he's probably not a name that we think about as a top GM, but with a roster like that and the resume that he has, you can say he's probably one of the well-established GMs in the league and probably arguably has a reason to probably potentially get in the Hall of Fame. But one thing I will say is with the loss to him, my condolences out to his family. The Packers are going to use this as fuel to defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, kind of like how the Lakers did with Kobe Bryant. When he passed away, they used that to fuel them throughout the season. So I can see Green Bay, especially Aaron Rodgers. That's the guy who drafted Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is probably going to go out there and really want to compete at a higher level just because he lost somebody who believed in him, as well as other guys like Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. So I definitely think it's a huge loss in the NFL community. Whenever we lose somebody, regardless if you know the name, he is part of the brotherhood. It's sad, but I definitely think the Packers are going to come out full swinging, and they really have something to play for.
Sorry.
No, I'm done.
There's already jumping ahead in terms of our topics here today. We'll be touching upon the NFC Championship match in just a bit, but right now we'll go into our first topic of the day because highlighting the NFC Championship match are two top head coaches, Matt LaFleur and Bruce Arians. But we're not talking about them. We're talking about the new bunch of potential head coaches coming into the 2021 season. Right now, 6 out of the 17 from a head coach have that spot filled. The New York Jets hired former 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh. The Chargers hired former Rams defensive coordinator Brandon Staley. The Lions hired former assistant head coach / tight end coach Dan Campbell. The Jaguars hired college football legend Urban Meyer. The Falcons hired Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. And the Eagles just today hired Colts offensive coordinator Nick Sirianni. So we already have some good spots here filled. The only team not having their spot filled is the Texans, and we'll touch on them right near the end of the conversation. But I'm going to go around the horn a little bit, and I'm obviously going to give the mic first to Avery and have him talk a little bit about the Arthur Smith hire. So what do you think of the hire, Avery? Is this a good move by Atlanta bringing in Arthur Smith?
Obviously, we needed a head coach, so and we needed somebody who was going to change the culture. And from everything that I've heard and seen from him as far as what he's done in Tennessee, he seems like a great fit. I mean, if he can bring us back to one, having a running game, and two, having an offensive line that knows how to protect the quarterback and open holes for their running back, I have absolutely no issue with it because that's Matt Ryan's sweet spot. He's got the weapons, and you allow him to get a running game so he can play off play action more. He's not dropping back 50 times a game. Those different things, yeah, I think that he's going to be phenomenal. Like I said, he can set the trend as far as culture and holding guys accountable, as he said. And one of the things that I love that he said is we're going to be the toughest, most conditioned team in the league. And I think people underestimate how conditioned Tennessee was, and that's why they were so good. They didn't really get tired at the end of games, and so that was phenomenal for me to hear. I think honestly, between him, to answer the question, between him and the coach Sirianni for the Eagles, I think they're going to have the most success in 2021, only because the Eagles, the NFC East, the division is still shaky, right? We're still not sure the Eagles can take that. They have a lot of pieces intact right now to be successful. And the same thing with the Falcons. They have a lot of pieces intact right now to be successful. I think the Jags, they're still going to be in a rebuild. The Jets, they still got to worry about some things. So I think there's too much uncertainty with those other teams. I think with the Falcons and the Eagles, they've got established guys on the roster right now that can, bowl for some success for those coaches.
Those are two kind of teams that are kind of like in the middle of, they're there, they're just not quite there yet. But there are teams that are in need of head coaching that already have some pretty good pieces in place, particularly the Los Angeles Chargers and the hiring of Brandon Staley. Already has some good offensive weapons featured over there and some pretty stellar defense. And I'll give them to Darren along with the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell. Darren, what do you think of those two hires?
So, especially when it comes to Staley, I love the setup for what they have. Offensively, they have a plethora of weapons, especially if they can get a re-signed Hunter Henry, who became Justin Herbert's security blanket along with Keenan Allen. Now, you keep all of those guys in house. You already have Austin Eckler in the back, and you have young up-and-comers coming behind him in the running back. I do like that. But I want to know who's going to be the offensive coordinator he's going to hire. Because that's going to be the most important decision he's going to make. Who's going to continue to make Justin Herbert a star in this league? Now, if he can do that, I trust him on the defensive end because you see where he came from. He came from the Rams, who had the number one overall defense. So, I'm not going to say he's a bad hire, but I really want to know what he's going to do with the OC. And with Derwin James back, that's a big weapon right there.
That's key. I don't know if I agree with Chris's take that they were a middle of the pack defense. I mean, you had Aaron Donald, who's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. You had Jalen Ramsey, who played out of his mind.
but they hadn't gelled yet at that moment, though.
Yeah,
Last
I was gonna say. I think he meant in the
100%
beginning of
gelled.
the season.
This
They
year, they
were.
really topped it.
Yeah, like they didn't start getting good towards the middle and the end of the season. In the beginning, they were a little shaky. So
Kind of like Tampa last year. They were a middle of the pack defense. Then they rose to being a top 5, top 7 unit coming
towards
into
the end of the season. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
And with that being said, I'm going to throw it over to Darius now to finish it out with the Jets and the Jaguars, the number 1 and number 2 picks, respectively, man. And you know what? Instead of asking you, what you think of the hires, I'm going to ask you, what do you think Urban Meyer and Robert Saleh, respectively, are going to do to try to rebuild these franchises?
So I think for the Jets, right? You have the number 2 overall pick, and they're gonna have a lot of calls on for that number 2 overall pick. I heard rumors that potentially Deshaun Watson could possibly be going to the Jets. Then that raised the question: what do you do with Sam Darnold, right? But these 2 teams are the most attractive teams outside of obviously Los Angeles, right? Just because of what Los Angeles has on both sides of the football, right? The Jaguars' first pick, ton of cap space. So, and I think these coaches are ideal fits for them. Like Robert said, like we know what he did with San Fran. The culture he's going to bring to the Jets, I think, is going to be very key. But it's just really going to be important what they do with that number 2 overall pick. Do they go quarterback? Do they trade back? That's really going to be important. Same with the Jags. Like the Jags, they get Trevor Lawrence. The key is they get him some offensive line help to be able to protect them, and they continue to build that defense. But I think both of these guys, I think in year 1, I think they're both going to have somewhat success. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, but I think they're going to trend in the right direction to become a playoff team, right? So I think the Jaguars are probably potentially can win 6 or 7 games. The Jets, depending on what they do with that number 2 overall pick, they can win 5 to 6 games. But the point is to win games and to see progress with your young players like James Robinson, right? To see him continue to progress, and then that defense for both of those teams to see them continue to progress and trending in the right direction. But I love the hires. I love Robert Saleh. I'm a Patriots fan. I'm just like, I think he's gonna bring a very much needed culture to the New York Jets, and we're gonna see a different Jets team coming into this season. Just a more hungry Jets team.
Whether or not Deshaun Watson even considers, well, he's considered it.
Yeah.
He's all over, and I'm trying not to get myself too hyped up about that. And we'll have we're gonna have Deshaun Watson talk later after the season ends, because that is an off-season storyline that will last for weeks going forward, and we'll touch on those later on as we go. But overall, I do have one more question, and anyone can take it, but only one of you can take it. Who will the Texans hire? Because Eric Bieniemy is still out there, but it doesn't seem like he wants the Texans jobs. Frankly, reports came out that no one wants the Houston Texans job. So what is Houston going to do to fill that void? And I guess I'm going to have to give it to Darren on that one, because he didn't get enough chance to speak yet. So Darren, what is Houston going to do?
Eric Bieniemy is not getting that job. The only way he is if Deshaun Watson was staying. Deshaun Watson's not going to stay. That's point blank period. I'm calling it now. He's out of there. I don't know where he's going, but he's not going to be a Houston Texans starting quarterback.
So then who's going to be the head coach, though?
So the head coach is going to be someone that's not necessarily known very much so. And I do not believe it will be someone that's actually coaching right now. I feel like they'll pick someone that's retired or that has been out of coaching for about at least a year.
I think it'll be the current interim coach. If they can't find
Romeo
anybody,
Crennel?
That makes sense.
If Romeo Crennel doesn't retire, I believe he remains the head coach in this upcoming season. And I agree with Darren. I think I think they should trade JJ and Deshaun. You can stockpile
completely doing
that. You can stockpile a lot of picks doing that.
Can I show of hands? And I'd love Darius is quick on this. Has anyone heard of Jack Easterby up until this offseason and like all these rumors and stories about him? Like, they portray him as this evil guy trying to take the culture, but I really don't see that. I know he was a chaplain with the Patriots, but now he's director of player personnel in Houston. I don't see where the elevation coming from. It just doesn't make sense to me. You had him as a staff man, Darius. You should know stuff.
Listen, Belichick ran everything. Belichick was the coach, the GM. He did literally everything.
We can talk about failing franchises all day if we want to. Patriots right now. But right now, let's move into our
7-9. 7-9. 7-9. We beat some great teams. That's all I'm gonna say.
You lost against bad ones. Anyway, so now we're moving in to our next topic of the day, which is a recap of the NFL divisional round, you guys. And I'm sorry to throw it on you, Darius, but come on.
It's all good. It's all good.
When will I ever get an opportunity to do this again? So, guys, divisional round weekend wasn't as hyped as wildcard weekend, but we still had some pretty decent output come out of it. And, we'll touch on you later, Darren. But first thing we're going to do is recap a couple of these. I'm going to give the first hand over to Avery to cover the Buccaneers and Saints game because he is an NFC South homer. So, thoughts on the NFC on the NFC South showdown that happened this weekend, man.
First, because I gotta get this out here. I gotta get this out before for all of those people thinking that, and I know this isn't my topic, so I'm just gonna say this and I'm gonna move on. But for all of the people thinking that Davante Adams won the matchup between him and Jalen Ramsey, you're completely misinformed.
Okay, hold on. I'll give you that. I'll give you Packers, Rams, and I'll give Darius Buccaneers.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if there's one of Packers Rams. I just wanted to say that.
No, I didn't. I wanted
cool. All right, listen.
I wanted the Browns game.
Okay, you can have the Browns game. I'll take the Buccaneers Saints game. Avery, go Packers Rams.
Listen here, people. I am so sick of this. All right, first of all, when it comes to the war, Davante Adams won, right? His team won the game. That's the ultimate goal of any game that you're playing. You want your team to win the game. You want to win. So shout out to them. And shout out to the Packers for a phenomenal game plan of moving him around in motion, getting him in the slot, making sure that he was not guarded by Jalen Ramsey as the sole guy or one-on-one more than, I think, maybe 5 times in that game. It was extremely an extremely well-coached game by the Packers. By my estimation, watching the film, technically, Davante Adams had 3 catches for maybe 30 to 35 yards when Jalen Ramsey was the sole defender. That's it. That is it. Jalen Ramsey did exactly what he does to every receiver. He takes away the big play. He takes away what they do best, all of those short routes and stuff like that. I mean, any corner, you're going to get that off on. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Champ Bailey, Darrell Revis, Deion Sanders. Everybody gets a slant run on them every now and again, right? So I'm not worried about that. But he took him essentially out of the game from the deep, big play, right? And then people talk about that touchdown. No corner in the NFL is guarding that, running across the field through motion, and then running back across the field, trying to get behind.
That's man coverage, too. That was man coverage. Who wants man coverage in the end zone? You don't do that. You don't cover in the end zone.
It's not even about that. You can run the man coverage. What you're supposed to do, and this is one of the things that I love that the Patriots do, and I see them do it every year. When a guy runs in motion, what the linebackers do, they back up to let the corner run underneath them. That's what you're supposed to do. That's number one. Number two, that corner who's inside on the slot, who sees Davante Adams coming across the field or hears the motion because you know they're selling motion, you bump out to Davante Adams and let Jalen go to the slot. That's what's supposed to happen. That's how you're supposed to cover something like that. It didn't happen, and as you saw, Jalen Ramsey got upset, and that's exactly what he was talking about on the sideline. But outside of that, man, it was a great game. I think that, like I said, at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers, there was no way that this man was going to be beaten. I did pick the Saints to win that game, but, it was just more so.
The Saints?
Excuse me, not the goodness gracious.
The Packers.
No.
The Rams.
The Rams.
In
my head, like I had the Rams to win that game. I picked the Packers to win, but in my heart, I wanted the Rams to win the game only because, like, I'm a huge Aaron Donald fan. I love Jalen Ramsey, obviously, and I just felt like their defense might have had a chance to get busy. Actually, I think I might have picked the Rams, and I said Davante Adams was going to walk over.
Chris says Allen Lazard was beating Ramsey too.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Like, again, watch the film, and if he was, trust and believe me, it's probably because Jalen Ramsey was conserving himself for Davante Adams. It happens like that sometimes. Like, think if you watch Patrick Peterson against DK Metcalf, clamps, but then you watch Patrick Peterson against the Eagles, it was like, He was getting ran routes all over him because he's like, I'm not getting up for y'all. Y'all not DK Metcalf. Y'all not Devontae Adams. Y'all not Julio Jones. I'm not getting up for y'all.
I'll trust Avery's take on here as the former DB in this group, so I'll take that.
That's just really what it is. But I think it was-
Darius, roll it with me with the Browns Chiefs.
Man, anything is possible. What a game. I'm just going to say the Cleveland Browns, even though they lost the game, to me, they're still winners, right? Like, no one thought Cleveland was going to do what Cleveland did, right? Everybody counted Cleveland out. And, you know, they got their first win in the playoffs, obviously, how they did it in the wild card. And then you go into a tough environment like Arrowhead against Patrick Mahomes, who went out in the third quarter, and you were this close to winning the game. Just imagine if, you know, the Chiefs turned the ball over. They were at midfield. Cleveland gets the ball back and potentially can score a touchdown. And also imagine if Odell Beckham was in the game, right? Just these different things.
Well, then that's actually a good question, though, because when Odell left, Cleveland went on a roll.
Cleveland got on a roll.
So, which brings up the
question is,
does Odell have a place?
Exactly. Does Odell?
Yeah, I don't like that narrative, and I knew.
Oh no, I wasn't going with the narrative.
I'm just saying. I just know that's probably going to be
the narrative
this coming off season. I don't like that narrative. If Odell was there, listen, we might be singing a different song. Like
that's what I was just about to say. Like if Odell was there, I think the game plan is one different. Right now, you have Odell and Jarvis Landry. You also have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, but. Chad Henne came in, and you know he wasn't a slouch. Like Andy Reid is a genius. When Patrick Mahomes went down, obviously everybody thought the Browns are probably going to win this game. But Andy Reid put Chad Henne, and he trusted him. Anything is possible. He came out with the win. And what guts was that when he went for it and 4th and inches at the midfield? I mean, you could say he didn't trust his defense enough, but just to go for it and put the game, and then you pass it. You don't run it. You pass it to Tyreek Hill, and the game is over. But like I said, man, Cleveland. A remarkable season. They're trending in the right direction, but you know, shout out to the Chiefs. I mean, obviously they got Buffalo, and if Patrick Mahomes comes back, we know what we can do. But that's going to be a great AFC Championship game. I hope it's high scoring. I want to
let's save the AFC Championship.
But for the most part, man, shout out to Cleveland. Kevin Stefanski, first year, takes his team to the divisional round.
Coach of the year.
And then obviously, you know, Andy Reid back in the AFC Championship game. So, yeah.
I'll touch a little bit about the Odell isn't terrible, but Mayfield's played with him out as him playing is night and day. Yeah, I have to go with Chris on that. There's just no chemistry between Odell and Baker. It just really isn't.
Not true. That is not true. Look at Odell's numbers. He's still putting up numbers with Baker Mayfield. What the issue is I think what happened was there was a click in Baker's head. I don't have to depend on Odell every single game. I don't have to force it. I don't have to force it to him. So now I think moving forward, now if Stefanski is smart, you use Odell the correct way. Just get him the ball in space, let him work. That's exactly what they did with Jarvis Landry. That's exactly what they need to do with Odell. Stop using him as a deep threat. He's not that guy. Not to say that he can't get the burners, but
he's not that deep downer. No, yeah, he's not. And you know, over the offseason, it'll be interesting to see how Stefanski he molded the offense over the course of the season from a run-heavy team to a play-action-based team that can run the ball and pass it when he needs to. Be interesting what 2021 is going to look like in Cleveland. But let me just give a quick touch of the Saints. Buccaneers game. I only have like 2 takeaways on each side. On the Tampa Bay side, Tom Brady now has 8 career wins against the NFC. 8 career wins.
6 of them
are Super Bowl wins.
As a Patriot. I'm sorry, I had that out there.
And he's third among all-time NFC teams. It's pretty interesting. Like that someone has been able to win against the NFC so many times from the AFC. Which it's incredible in and of itself. I don't know if I give Tom Brady enough credit for what he's been able to accomplish. I know there's a lot of Tom Brady haters out there, but you got to give the man his respect, and you got to be able to recognize he is one of the top quarterbacks in NFL history. Maybe not the top from like a technique and talent wise, but as a winner, as a tactician of the game, and just overall as a as what the defining position, the defining trait of the position is. Tom Brady's one of the GOATs. And he showed it against the Saints, who had a pretty top-tier defense. He didn't let guys like Marshawn Lattimore and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who personally I'm not really a big fan of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I don't like guys who try to get people to throw punches in the middle of a game. That's for me just unsportsmanlike, but that's just how the game is done. But either way, I like that he was able to take on the entire Saints defense and then just shove that thing down its throat and push it forward. Drew Brees, unfortunately, I feel bad for the guy that he had to retire like that. He took the Dan Marino route out because remember when Marino went out, he went out in the playoffs against the Jaguars and got absolutely blown out, threw 3 interceptions in that game. And not to mention the Saints are in cap hell next year. $100 million over the cap. And
has he retired yet, though?
Huh?
I said,
He's saying he is. Apparently he is, but he hasn't announced it yet.
Not officially, but in any case, even if he retires, the Saints still have to pay him $40 million. So I guess that's what he's really waiting to earn. Either way, Tampa showed that they can stick. Tampa showed that they can stick through in the hard situations. They fought back and came back from a 10-point deficit, as the Tom Brady way usually is, and are now moving forward to playing against Aaron Rodgers and the high-powered Packers. Excuse me. Avery, I know you saying like something about CJ. Like, answer back what
I just like the fact that he can get under people's skin. I don't like the way he plays from a technique standpoint. Like, I don't think he's that good. I think he's overrated. But I think I just like the fact that I don't think he's nice. I think he's overrated. I think because Marshawn Lattimore's there, he gets a lot more opportunity to show that he's a good player. Because he's a serviceable player, but when you have Marshawn Lattimore on the other side, who's just a single cover, he's on the island. It's like you're gonna have safety help over the top. You can play a little bit different. And then, like I said, I like the fact that he's a dog and he likes to get under people's skin. But from a technique standpoint, he's not a number one guy. If he was ever to go somewhere to be the number one guy, he's going to get cooked.
There was a clip, I think, in the Bucs game where I saw Gardner-Johnson actually punch a player in the side. Like when he was trying to rip the ball out, he actually punched a dude like right on the side.
Yeah, I have no problems with that because it's like that's actually that's a part of football. Like if you're punching at the ball, I mean, punches get thrown all the time. Like I've been punched in the chest, punched in the in the sternum because people were ripping at the ball trying to go for the ball and different things like that. It's a part of football. Like I'm not mad at that at all.
The Jerome thinks Lattimore maybe greater than Ramsey. I'd say I don't know. I'm not that great at evaluating corner talent, but I like Lattimore a lot more than I like Ramsey.
Yeah, I would say I don't think he's greater than Ramsey, but I will say that I think he's better than people give him credit for. Marshall Lattimore is nice.
Especially against Mike Evans.
He owns that boy.
But here's the one though that's the most underrated, that's the most untalked about, but probably is like top 3. Jair
yeah.
A
Underrated how?
He's a dog.
People know him now, or if they don't,
I have to say, if I had to rank the 3, I'd go Jair Alexander, Jalen Ramsey, Marshawn Lattimore, in my opinion.
I would go Jalen, Jair, Marshawn.
Yeah, Jalen. I would do it, Avery. Yep.
All right. And the only reason I've been talking so much for this long is just so I can have Darren squirm a little bit more in his chair to what he wanted to talk about. I'm not gonna comment anymore, Darren. Let it roll. Because remember, big trust. Woo woo.
Hashtag 350.
Hashtag 350. Yeah.
So we lost. It's cool. You take that on the chin. Lamar went out after the pick 6, which should have never happened because there was a touchdown right before that, which unfortunately. But I regret. And on top of that, can somebody explain to me why Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals? That's automatic. Like
30 miles per hour winds.
Listen, and it was a bad day. It was a bad day for us. You know what? Congratulations, Buffalo. Y'all played well. Y'all did everything that y'all needed to do to get the win, and y'all did. Congratulations. Not mad. I do like the way Josh Allen's playing this year, and I always have loved Stephon Diggs. So, congratulations. Not needed. We already beat them. We good. We good.
That image will always be burned into the hearts and souls of Baltimore Ravens fans, though, man. It always will be.
It's okay.
Hey, Jerome, can you find a GIF of like the Ravens team like just rubbing the Titans logo though? I think that could supplement that one instead. I think that might help.
Oh, how about we get that skunk going? How about that one? Yeah.
Oh, look.
Real quick, Jerome, we weren't saying that these are the top 3 corners in the league. We were saying between those 3, I would rank, Ramsey, then Jair, then Marshall.
At the end of the year, we'll do like our own rankings for positions some way, somehow. So we'll save that conversation for a later day. But I will say this, though, about the Baltimore Ravens. They did try their best. It was a defensive brunt against the Bills, man, but like you have to admit, for a Bills team that was known to be somewhat flawed against the run, they were in some way able to keep Lamar Jackson in check on the ground, force him to pass in a windy Ralph Lawrence as new cap era.
Let Lamar cook.
Wait,
He can't cook. Even Aaron Rodgers couldn't cook in that high of a wind stadium.
Yes, he can. Because think about it. Josh Allen cooked, and why? It's because he's got a cannon. He's got a rocket arm. That's going to
Josh had a lot of his balls.
He did. But once he made the adjustment, he was like, okay. If you saw the pass that Josh Allen where he missed Stephon Diggs on
the go route.
The go route.
Yeah.
If you saw him, he was like this. He was pointing. He was saying, "I put too much air on it," and then he did this, and he was letting Stephon Diggs know next time it's coming straight at you. I'm going to use my arm and I'm going to cut through the wind. Lamar has a cannon arm too.
He does.
Let Lamar cook.
So real quick, first, Chris Thomas. I've been saying it all year long. Get my man a number 1. Give him that number 1. Marquise is a great deep threat, great secondary guy. But we need a number 1. That DK Metcalf type guy.
Devontae Smith could be that number 1 if you can trade up high enough to get him.
And
here's what I would love to see in Baltimore: Kenny Galladay, Marquise Brown, and T.Y. Hilton. You got a vet receiver who can just run all the routes. You got Kenny Galladay, who's a big body who can get busy, and then you got the speedster and Marquise. I'm trying to tell you, and they're Kenny and Marquise.
The only issue is like those first 2 are injury prone. Kenny Galladay hasn't played a full season in 2 years, and T.Y. Hilton is on and off the injury report.
But now neither one of them is looked at as being the number 1 guy, so it's a little bit less pressure. So like we're going to spread the ball around. You know what I mean?
Final question for this then: does Lamar Jackson deserve to be the highest paid quarterback in the league because he might be due a contract extension?
I heard contract extensions, but no, absolutely not yet.
I think he should be. I think he should be around the Deshaun Watson range.
Yeah.
If he was to win or
there it is. All right. We'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah. So, okay. Well, just to put into clarification, the Deshaun Watson range is a 5-year, $125 million contract that he signed. Juju, great physical receiver. Juju really evolved.
Juju's not a number 1. Juju's not a number 1. He showed you that he's not a number 1.
Thank you.
But he has evolved.
You
got to give it credit that Juju has evolved as a receiver, though. He went from scrawny,
but he's not a number 1
receiver.
I would take Marvin Jones before Juju. I'm sorry.
Exactly, and I think he's just a little too immature.
Yeah.
Like Harbaugh would get him right, but at the same time, it's just like,
bring him to New England. Belichick.
I don't think. Really what it is, I don't think
you can have your Kenny Galladay, you can have your T.Y. Hilton and your Juju Smith-Schuster. Just leave Allen Robinson to the Jets when they get Mr. Deshaun Watson. And now we move into our final topic of the day, which is our preview of championship weekend and hot takes, my man. All right, man. We got Tampa Bay and Green Bay for the NFC Championship. We got Buffalo versus Kansas City in the AFC Championship, you guys. And I really don't know where to start with this one, to be honest. I'm conflicted, but here's what I'm planning to do instead. We're going to do 2x2. 2 of us are going to discuss one game, and then 2 of us is going to discuss another game. And the way I'm going to break it up is as follows. I'm going to give Tampa Bay versus Green Bay to Darren and Avery, and then Buffalo versus Kansas City between Darius and me. So roll it, Darren and Avery.
Well, all right. So I will say this. This is the first time in a long time where I do not know who's going to the Super Bowl. I really do not know. Like last year I knew. I was like, the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like I saw the 49ers. I'm like, they're going to the Super Bowl. The year before that, I'm like, the Patriots are retarded right now. They're going to the Super Bowl. Like the Rams, they were getting busy. I was like, yeah, I can see it happening. So, but this year, oh my gosh. I mean, you got Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers for the NFC Championship. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I really don't know.
Just think of the matchups we had with Tom Brady in the NFC this year.
Oh my god!
I have an interesting idea. You know, here's
Aaron Rodgers already.
Hey guys, hold on. I have an interesting idea. I'm gonna let Avery talk out why he thinks Tampa's gonna go, and then I'm gonna give Darren the rebuttal with Green Bay.
Okay, all right, I like that. So if I was to pick Tampa, the reason why is because one, I believe that they have the bruisers at the running back position, right? You got Leonard Fournette and you've got Ronald Jones. I think they're bigger backs. They can weigh on those guys a little bit more. And the Packers have struggled all year long with stopping the run. Then you've got all of these different weapons, right? You know, we talked about Jair Alexander being one of the best corners in the league, but he's going to have to guard Mike Evans, which leads you to believe who's going to guard Chris Godwin, because number one, you know he's going to have a bounce back game because he didn't play well in the last one. And then you still got Antonio Brown in the slot, and then you still got Rob Gronkowski. So I think it's just a lot for the Packers to overcome defensively. I think offensively they could probably keep up, but I think if Tom Brady has the ball last and the way they can control the clock with running the football, and then let's not even forget Cameron Brate. Like there's so many weapons on that team. And their defense, they're playing extremely well. We saw. Oh goodness gracious! I'm gapping the
Devin
corner.
Devin White.
Well, Devin White, he played out his mind, but I'm the corner.
The corner who shut down. Like Tommy. Yeah.
Murphy Bunting.
Yes. Murphy Bunting. He's playing at another level right now in the playoffs. So I think with what they have on defense and how they're playing solid, they're playing fast. They're playing disciplined, and the way that, like I said, just so many different ways that the Bucs can beat you. You know that's.
Not to mention, this is the same Bucs team that beat Aaron Rodgers in the regular season. Darren, your rebuttal.
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers. I'll throw a little Devontae Adams in there for you, and then we're gonna put a little Aaron Rodgers on it. Come on, people. Listen here, I know he had his worst game against the Bucs this year, but when it comes to going 2 times against another opponent, Aaron Rodgers does not go bad like that, especially in one season. I'm telling you this right now. You know what? I'm not even gonna wait. You see right here, I have my notes, people, and in my notes here it says, and I quote: Green Bay wins by 21. Gets revenge for their for their earlier season loss, and Devontae Adams 150, 2 touchdowns. Yes, I said it.
Let me see those notes again, man. Let me see notes again. I can barely read what it says, but let's see. We got Haskins, Dwayne Haskins in Pittsburgh. Mahomes plays 3. You think Mahomes is going to throw 300 yards? Okay.
300 yards, no touchdowns, 50 yards rushing, and 3 TDs, people.
Okay. Wow. All right. We already know who you're going for in that one. All right. Wait. Avery, we forgot to give you a chance for your hot takes.
Go ahead, people.
Oh, my. This is tough. Like this whole the game picks and everything like that, that's just tough. Like I said, I'm really torn as to who's gonna win it, but I'm going to lean toward. All right, I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with Green Bay, man. They're just on fire right now. To Darius's point, losing their former GM, I think that can kind of galvanize them. I think it'll give them something to play for a little bit more. And just the way that Aaron Rodgers is working right now, he's just clicking on all cylinders. Aaron Jones looks like he's playing well. I mean, I don't know if anybody's stopping this team right now other than, whoever they face in the Super Bowl. And even then, well, that, So I'm going to go with the Packers, but my
Lambeau.
My hot take, and that was the other thing. It's just like
Lambeau.
like Tom Brady, Gronk, AB, they'll be ready for the cold weather, but them other Tampa boys, I don't know. So, but my hot take, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers he breaks the record for touchdown passes in the NFC Championship game.
And what's the record?
I have no clue, but he breaks the record.
Jordan, can we find out that record real quick?
And
it might be like 4. It might be like 5.
Maybe
like 4 or 5.
And
okay,
the Bucks don't score more than 13 points.
Ooh.
Jair Alexander, baby. It is what it is.
And you know what else? They got the corner that they just signed back. The corner they just signed back, the veteran corner, 38-year-old corner. I forget his name. Something Williams. Tremont Williams?
Tremont Williams.
Yeah, they just signed it. They just brought him back, and they had him earlier a couple years ago. So, good for the Packers. They're stockpiling, so I can see that. All right, let's hit this AFC Championship now, and I'm going to hand the floor over first to Darius. And Darius, I'll give you the Chiefs.
I'll make it quick, but something I learned today, the Packers have never, with Aaron Rodgers, hosted the NFC Championship game. So that's also going to add fuel to them because they're going to be able to host the game. But with the Chiefs,
Patrick Mahomes record is 6 touchdowns, by the way. So you're saying that Aaron Rodgers is going to throw 7 touchdowns in the NFC Championship. Okay.
That's hot. That's hot.
Yeah. It's hot.
That's hot.
Yeah. So we really underestimated it. All right. There is. Hit it with the Chiefs.
I'll make this quick, man. Patrick Mahomes coming back. I think that team is gonna they're gonna play for Patrick Mahomes, especially because in the third quarter he went down. I think it's gonna be a great game. I think this is probably gonna be that Patriots Chiefs AFC Championship game that we saw a few years back when the Patriots won in overtime. I think it's gonna be one of those games. I think both teams are gonna start out hot. I would love for it to go back and forth, high scoring. If it doesn't in the first half, in the second half, I better see some high scoring. I do not want to sit through a defensive battle AFC Championship game. That's not what I want to see.
I do.
Especially when you have guys like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen who can throw the ball and the weapons that they have. I will say this, man.
Real quick, that competition they were supposed to have, who can throw the ball farther, they need to have that before the game.
Oh, they will. They will. They will. My hot take from that game, I think Kansas City is gonna win. I think I'm gonna go there. Tyreek Hill will have 2 touchdowns receiving. He'll rush for 1, and then he'll have a kick return for 1. So he'll have 4 total touchdowns. And then the Kansas City Chiefs will win 45-41.
Wow, high scoring and an MVP level event happening in Kansas City. Now, let me give my thing. So, I found this little interesting stat on Twitter for NFL Humor. I don't know if you guys follow the account, but apparently every 27 years, the Chiefs and the Bills play in the AFC Championship game. The 1966 through 67 season, Kansas City won that Super Bowl that year. The 1993-1994 season, I think, was Buffalo's 3rd out of 4 failed attempts to win a Super Bowl. And now it's the 2020-2021 season, 27 years exactly to the day. And it's just one weird coincidence, guys. I mean, wouldn't you say? And I'm looking at this game, and I'm looking at what Buffalo's bringing in, guys. We talk about so many times that it's starting to get redundant. Buffalo's the hotter team coming in here. All right, they're riding a wave of momentum that is unprecedented. Outside of the Hail Mary game, they've been dominant. They've been not only dominant but persistent and consistent in every game that they're in. Josh Allen, if not 3rd place, should be in 2nd place for the MVP voting this year. Patrick Mahomes be damned. Stephon Diggs. Everyone didn't think that him and Josh Allen were going to click. already breaking Bills franchise records in receivings in a single season. So that's in and of itself amazing. The running game has been a little bit lackluster. Zach Moss, even now out for the rest of the postseason, does bring a bit of a hamper to the Bills offense, but they have great receiving weapons to work with. They got John Brown back after he was injured for a couple of good weeks. They had Davis, the rookie out of UCF, I think he's from, coming in and making some splash plays. Cole Beasley, even with the knee injury, is still doing really well. Oh, and just a little correction. Jerome Texas back saying that the championship record is 5 touchdowns by Kerry Collins with the Giants against the Vikings. So yeah, if Aaron Rodgers throws 6 touchdowns, which I'm pretty sure he can, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, you get that hot take, Avery. But anyway, back to Buffalo. The key.
I wanted somebody to say that, but
yeah,
okay.
no, that. The key to Buffalo winning is in the secondary, especially. All right, because Kansas City is known for the home run hitting touchdowns that they take, especially with the speed options that they have at receiver. Mecole Hardman, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, even being an underrated speedster as a tight end. Like they're gonna have their day cut out for him. But I have full confidence in Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, and Micah Hyde being able to at least put up a good fight against this receiving core. That's going to be a great battle to watch going forward. And with that being said, I'm going to give the win to Buffalo, and I think it's going to be a 38-34 battle. High scoring, a lot of passing, and an Arrowhead, I'm hoping there's snow because both of these teams are built for the climate.
Hey, my hot take for that game. Sammy Watkins is the wild card, goes for 2 touchdowns over $150 on Josh Norman. He cooks that dude.
Okay.
That's not real. That's real. That's real Sammy Watkins. That's real Sammy Watkins.
He did that in the Super Bowl too, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's real Sammy
Are we
Watkins.
forgetting this, people? Come on, people. Listen.
Wait, hold on. Let me give out like my hot takes right now for both games. In the first game, I'm gonna say that Aaron Rodgers throws for over 400 yards, Tom Brady for 350, and that's a lot. And between them, 8 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers 5, Tom Brady 3. And then in the Bills Chiefs game, since both of these are such strong armed quarterbacks in a windy stadium known for having to battle the elements, I'm gonna say between them, over 1,000 yards passing.
Ooh.
Oh my God!
Wrap the show up, Juan.
I'm calling it. It's going to be over 1,000 yards passing. I think that Mahomes will have more of the stats than Josh Allen will, but Stephon Diggs leads everyone in receiving that game, at least 200.
Oh my
Wrap the show
God!
up, Juan.
I'm calling it, man. I'm calling it. And you know what?
We gotta wrap it up.
That's
All right,
my
hold on.
reaction.
One more thing.
That's my
We got to give our official pick for the Super Bowl, guys. So for me, it's going to be Packers Bills.
Well, you heard it here. I already say Packers Chiefs.
Packers, Chiefs.
We're going with the State Farm boys. Packers Chiefs, man.
All right. So the official matchup for the Super Bowl is Packers.
We was robbed
versus
last year,
Chiefs.
so we got to get it this year. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't think Green Bay was fully qualified for that matchup yet, but we're there. We're there for that right now. And you know, guys, I'm so hyped up for this. I can't even imagine how everyone else at home is feeling about the Super Bowl coming up. But we got to get through championship weekend first. You got to get through championship weekend to get to SB weekend. But next week, we're not doing is a different kind of SB weekend. We got the Senior Bowl happening, you guys. We got the Senior Bowl. And guess what? Inside the Hashes is going to Mobile to cover the Senior Bowl. It's going to be myself. It's going to be Jerome Jones. It's going to be Christopher Thomas over there, as well as one of our resident scout masters, Mr. Jack Grout, coming in and covering the entire event in Mobile. Well, from Wednesday to Sunday, we're going to be down there covering the event. We're going to be interviewing a ton of players. We're going to be covering the game live on Twitter. We're going to even have a Senior Bowl special episode of the Air It Out podcast live down in Mobile. So you guys better come and check us out on our YouTube channel, on Twitter, anywhere that you watch us. We're going to be broadcasting all Senior Bowl coverage all down there in Mobile, Alabama.
Juan, you are going to have a blast, man.
Yeah.
So I can't go this year, but you're going to have a blast. Enjoy it.
I can't wait, man. Like I like in my interview list alone, I'm just excited for who I'm going to be able to talk to. I got Ian Book, the quarterback out of Notre Dame, who's someone I've been wanting to interview about his legacy there. I even got a Heisman Trophy candidate in Cal Trask that I gotta break that stuff down. I'm excited. I am so pumped, and I think I speak for everyone that's going. Jerome, Christopher, and Jack. I think we're all like so excited for this to happen. It's the third time that we're going to Mobile, so be prepared for that, ladies and gentlemen. And guys, I'm sorry I took it up, but do y'all have any other outgoing messages you want to present to us before we take next week off for the Senior Bowl and then we come back right in it for Super Bowl week?
Don't rob me of my Super Bowl. Don't rob me of my Super Bowl. I am talking to all referees in the National Football League. Not rob me of my Super Bowl. Let them play this game out. Thank you.
All right. Darius, any parting words?
Nah, I'm good, man.
All right.
I'm
Eric?
good.
All I'm gonna say is this: do what you gotta do, so nobody can tell you anything when you do what you want to do.
And with that being said, you guys, I just want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch the Air It Out podcast today. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Remember, this podcast, along with the rest of our podcast series, whether it's RPO, whether it's the Fantasy Football Live podcast that we do here at Inside the Hashes, is available on Spotify. It's available on Apple Podcasts. It's available on Anchor. Anywhere that you listen to audio podcasts, Inside the Hashes is there. You can also check us out on YouTube and our website, InsideTheHashes.com, for all our video projects, whether it's our Madden YouTube series, our player interview series, our Throwback Thursday series, even the live streams of these podcasts. Go check us out over there. And also follow us on social media. On Facebook, we are Inside the Hashes, the football group. On Twitter, we are at Inside Hashes. On Instagram, we are at Inside the Hashes. And on our Discord, you just type in Inside the Hashes to join our Discord. Join our conversation on football on all levels, you guys, whether it's high school football, college football, D2 football, D3 football, even indoor football league, that weird fan-owned league with Johnny Manziel in it that I keep bringing up, but I'm too lazy to ever check it out in the first place. In the NFL, we always talk football on all levels. So go ahead, go join our Discord. We want to hear from you just as much as you want to hear from us. And guys, one more thing. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate everyone that comments and everyone that provides all these great notes. We take the energy from you. We throw it back into this show, and I can't really say much more other than thank you so much. For Dan Braxton, for Avery Collins, for Darius Riddick, for Jerome Jones, behind the glass, my name is Juan Pablo Guardin Camargo. We'll see you in 2 weeks. And if you're tuning in for the Senior Bowl, in 1 week. Also, Buffalo all the way this time.